Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is a colossal neoclassical sculpture on Liberty Island in New York Harbor in New York, in the United States. The copper statue, a gift from the people of France to the people of the United States, was designed by French sculptor Gustave, and its metal framework was built by Gustave Eiffel. The statue was dedicated on October 28, 1886. The height of the statue is 46 meters. The Statue of Liberty is a figure of Libertas, a robed Roman liberty goddess. She holds a torch above her head with her right hand, and in her left hand carries a tabula anxata inscribed in Roman numerals with July 4 MDCCLXXVI July 4, 1776, the date of the U.S. Declaration of Independence. A broken chain lies at her feet as she walks forward. The statue became an icon of freedom and of the United States, and a national park tourism destination. It is a welcoming side to immigrants arriving from abroad. According to the National Park Service, the idea of a monument presented by the French people to the United States was first proposed by Edward René de Label, president of the French Anti-Slavery Society and a prominent and important political thinker of his time. The project is traced to a mid-1865 conversation between de Label, a staunch abolitionist, and Gustave, a sculptor. In after-dinner conversation at his home near Versailles, Label, an ardent supporter of the Union in the American Civil War, is supposed to have said, "If a monument should rise in the United States, as a memorial to their independence, I should think it only natural if it were built by united effort, a common work of both our nations." Gustave and Label considered how best to express the idea of American liberty. In early American history, two female figures were frequently used as cultural symbols of the nation. One of these symbols, the personified Columbia, was seen as an embodiment of the United States in the manner that Britannia was identified with the United Kingdom and Marianne came to represent France. Columbia had supplanted the earlier figure of an Indian princess, which had come to be regarded as uncivilized and derogatory toward Americans. The other significant female icon in American culture was a representation of liberty, derived from Libertas, the goddess of freedom, widely worshipped in ancient Rome, especially among emancipated slaves. Fundraising for the statue had begun in 1882. The committee organized a large number of money-raising events. The committees in the United States faced great difficulties in obtaining funds for the construction of the pedestal. The Panic of 1873 had led to an economic depression that persisted through much of the decade. The Liberty Statute project was not the only such undertaking that had difficulty raising money. Construction of the obelisk, later known as the Washington Monument, sometimes stalled for years. It would ultimately take over 3.5 decades to complete. Even with these efforts, fundraising lagged. Grover Cleveland, the governor of New York, vetoed a bill to provide $50,000 for the statue project in 1884. An attempt the next year to have Congress provide $100,000, sufficient to complete the project, also failed. The New York committee, with only $3,000 in the bank, suspended work on the pedestal. With the project in jeopardy, groups from other American cities, including Boston and Philadelphia, offered to pay the full cost of erecting the statue in return for relocating it. On June 17, 1885, the French steamer Reassembly arrived in New York with the crates holding the disassembled statue on board. New Yorkers displayed their newfound enthusiasm for the statue. 200,000 people lined the docks and hundreds of boats put to sea to welcome the ship. After 5 months of daily calls to donate to the statue fund, on August 11, 1885, the world announced that $102,000 had been raised from 120,000 donors. Even with the success of the fund drive, the pedestal was not completed until April 1886. Immediately thereafter, reassembly of the statue began. Eiffel's iron framework was anchored to steel beams within the concrete pedestal and assembled. Once this was done, the sections of skin were carefully attached. Due to the width of the pedestal, it was not possible to erect scaffolding, and workers dangled from ropes while installing the skin sections. Nevertheless, no one died during the construction. Gustave had planned to put floodlights on the torch's balcony to illuminate it. A week before the dedication, the Army Corps of Engineers vetoed the proposal, fearing that ships pilots passing the statue would be blinded. Instead, Bartholdi cut portholes in the torch, which was covered with gold leaf, and placed the lights inside them. A power plant was installed on the island to light the torch and for other electrical needs. When the torch was illuminated on the evening of the statue's dedication, it produced only a faint gleam, barely visible from Manhattan. The world characterized it as more like a glowworm than a beacon. The United States Lighthouse Board took over the Statue of Liberty in 1887 and pledged to install equipment to enhance the torch's effect. In spite of its efforts, the statue remained virtually invisible at night. Ralph Pulitzer, who had succeeded his father Joseph as publisher of the World, began a drive to raise $30,000 for an exterior lighting system to illuminate the statue at night. He claimed over 80,000 contributors, but failed to reach the goal. The difference was quietly made up by a gift from a wealthy donor, a fact that was not revealed until 1936. An underwater power cable brought electricity from the mainland, and floodlights were placed along the walls of Fort Wood. Goodson Boglum, who later sculpted Mount Rushmore, redesigned the torch, replacing much of the original copper with stained glass. On December 2, 1916, President Woodrow Wilson pressed the telegraph key that turned on the lights, successfully illuminating the statue. In 1984, the Statue of Liberty was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The UNESCO Statement of Significance describes the statue as a masterpiece of the human spirit that endures, as a highly potent symbol inspiring contemplation, debate and protest of ideals such as liberty, peace, human rights, abolition of slavery, democracy and opportunity. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Footprints for more videos.